course, you guys are free to ask me any questions you have about changing the world.
Great, yes. And first of all, I'd like to say that was an inspired performance. Thank you so much for that. I'll start with a question of my own. I know that there are many people probably at home who are thinking things like a childhood should be spent doing things for children, playing with toys,
Right.
or watching cartoons. And it seems like you are pitching sort of an alternative lifestyle. What would you say to those at home who say that a childhood should be spent doing childhood things like playing in the playground or playing imagination?
Well, that's exactly what this is all about. I'm not trying to erase childhood. I'm just trying to take the tools of childhood and make them work for adulthood, work towards adulthood. For instance, you say people are playing with toys, watching TV. You can still do all those things, but you have to keep an eye on the future and on what's really coming, and not just show your kids things like, Roadrunner and Coyote, something that doesn't truly relate to what they're going to experience. For instance, I mostly watch things like Law and Order or Criminal Minds or other shows that are How It's Made, things that teach me what's actually out there in life. So sit your little tots down in front of those things and start to educate them right away on how the world's gonna be. Because if they're 3 years old, it's sort of like learning a language. If you learn Spanish as a child, it comes to you very quickly. If you sit your kid down in front of a show about, I don't know, a special victims unit, then they come to understand that people out there are predators much faster than they would in the moment when they're faced with a predator. It's horrifying, but it's true. I just speak from experience, having had quite a few bumps in my road.
Sure. How do other kids, are you friends with a lot of other kids? Do you get along with them?
I work a lot of jobs at the moment.
And you're how old again are you?
I'm gonna be 8 in a couple months, so right now I am 7.
Not even 8.
But I feel like I'm definitely 7 going on 8. If you know what I mean. Like 7 is already in the rearview mirror for me. Thinking ahead to the future, already got plans. So yeah, kids find me difficult to talk to. When they come into the restaurants I work at and, the movie theaters that I've been concessions at, it's off-putting to them. I don't really find it easy to connect with them because they want to talk about things like I don't know, I just saw a YouTube video, I'm on the Instagram, do you like stickers? Things like that.
Right. That does sound like what kids are saying these
Right,
days.
right. Lots of dabbing, and I just don't have time for these kind of things. And it's, I wish that they had their little bubbles kind of popped a little bit so they could get out of their own, just the small world that they're living in and see things the way I do, so that we could have intelligent conversations, and perhaps when we see each other say, hey, have you assessed this room to see if there's any potential threats in here yet? And they'd be like, totally, I have. There's a man at 12 o'clock who looks shady but hasn't exhibited any actively outrageous behavior yet.
Okay, right. Well, that answers the question, sure.
Jupiter Ninja asked a question, and then I actually had the same question I was going to ask, so we're kind of on the same wavelength. But there's a lot of talk about the activities on the food menu. But,
right.
What about the actual food items itself? I mean, you got your grilled cheese, your mac and cheese,
Chicken nuggets.
I mean,
tenders.
are there any ways that we could revamp those?
I think one thing I would say is that we're not making enough bad and disgusting food for our kids. Because odds are, when you're out there in the world and maybe you're living on $1 and a dream, you don't have much going for you, you're going to have to buy food that isn't as beautiful and as comforting. They refer to mac and cheese as comfort food often. It's not going to be as comforting as those items that are typically on a kid's menu. So if it doesn't have to be every time, but if you could mix in every once in a while, have the waiter bring out mac and cheese that's cold and wet and not very cooked, or a burger that just tastes extremely bad in some way. Perhaps, maybe it's been dropped. Maybe there's I don't know, hair on it. I think it's important that they know that food won't always taste good, so that when it doesn't taste good later in life, they're like, no sweat. Almost every other week when I go to Shakey's with my family, I get a pizza that just has a big hole in it and there's some glue on it somewhere, you know?
Right, so set the bar low is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Is we
Right,
wanna
right,
set the bar
right,
nice
right.
and low for our expectations so that when we do experience these things, either they meet our low expectations or they exceed them.
Yes, it's sort of a pessimistic optimism.
Sure.
Realism.
Realism, yeah. I would
Um,
define realism as pessimistic optimism in my case.
Okay. Wavy Lines was wondering, what is your opinion of Santa Claus?
Santa. I've got a bone to pick with that big guy in the clouds or wherever the frick he is.
Okay.
This guy brings toys to kids just for being good. I mean, is that the kind of lesson we want to teach kids? That just because they've been good, they're going to get amazing presents? Sometimes you could be the nicest kid in your whole neighborhood and you still get abandoned by your parents when they enter the witness protection program, and you still get fired as an employee in front of the entire nation on Undercover Boss, and you still have your whole room burned down. And you know, and Santa is just making kids think that there's a reward system in place for them just because it's sort of like karma. I also have a problem with karma. Good things don't necessarily come to good people. You have to be strong. You have to the goodness has to come from you. You have to enjoy life despite everything, not because of things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
And Santa is just contributing to this idea that you have to have good things happen to you, and then you open a present and you smile. Maybe you open the window and you see a police car is outside your window and you smile. That's the kind of mentality I want to provoke in
Promote
children.
and provoke. I like
Sorry,
it.
I'm only 8, so
Hey, you're doing great.
And you're inventing new
I've
words.
heard the word provoke before, but I kind of stumbled through that one.
Hey, none of us is perfect, and I think I understand what you're saying. Again, it seems like your philosophy is to set the bar low, right? Not tee our children up for some sort of expectation of a whimsical holiday man here to give you gifts, right? Set the
Yes.
expectation low. Say when you wake up on Christmas morning, you're not getting presents, you're getting what then? What instead would you suggest as an alternative to sort of the Santa law, if you would?
I would say the cold shoulder would be a good gift to give your kids on their birthday.
Wow. So they wake up and you immediately ignore them.
Just really ignore them hardcore so they know that despite this day having some cosmic significance as the day they entered the world, make them really aware that there's no exceptions. Just because it's their day doesn't mean the world knows that. Okay?
Absolutely. And Heavy Flow, thank you for the follow. I noticed it seems that you followed us on the program, and thank you so much for that.
Tyler, Jupiter Ninja 95 is wondering, are the kids of today down with Weird Al?
Honestly, I've been described as sort of an old soul, so I'm definitely aware of the king of parody, Weird Al Yankovic, and I've heard some of his tunes, and of course, you know, his tunes, I like them because they take songs and make them more about specific experiences, like kind of what I'm saying. They prepare you, even if they are comedic, they talk about real things, like Trapped in the Drive-Thru. Great.
Great example.
So good.
Yes.
Eat It, Fat, all the ones about food.
Mainly about food.
Great.
Foil, aluminum foil.
Yes,
Wow,
yes.
Great poll.
Instead of, you know, a kid listens to American Pie, they might not get all the nuance of it, but if they listen to his Star Wars parody, they will have a summary of a very important media franchise to the world and be able to get references that people are making around them, and that's going to help them. So I think that Weird Al Yankovic actually takes songs and distills them into lessons that kids can actually digest and use, rather than having to listen to these songs that they can't parse. So I'm a big fan of Weird Al Yankovic, and if I got to meet him one day, well, gosh, I think I'd I just absolutely cry on the floor and just melt down.
Well, we've got a lot of support for your philosophy here in the chat, but we do have some critics, Tyler, and so I'd like to
Naturally.
read just
And you know what? I'm ready for that because
Great.
I've
Well-
spent my life preparing for people to yell at me in my face.
Perfect. Well, then you'll be able to answer this comment from user I'm a Tater Thought.
Yep.
I'm a Tater Thought says, kids don't deserve that shit. They aren't stupid. They're going to learn about life when they wanna. And I think that was in response to perhaps a cold shoulder idea. But it seems like user I'm a Tater Thought is saying that children are more smart than maybe we're giving them credit for.
I think that we are actually on the same page here. I think we're both, we maybe differ a bit on the execution, but that's exactly what I'm saying. I do think that kids are smart enough to understand and comprehend what the rest of life is going to be like without us coddling them for a few years and showing them programs that are about fanciful Tinkerbells or little Dora the Explorers going through the jungle, but never getting mauled by a tiger. I think they are smart enough to actually see the bad of the world. Maybe I'm not saying don't show them the good too, but we're not showing them any of the bad right now. I think they can digest the bad of the world, and once they have, it'll go to their stomach. They've digested the bad. Now they know what it tastes like. So next time, it's sort of like when you take a drink of Sprite and you think it's water. We're preventing that from ever happening to these kids. You take a drink, oh, yeah, that's just my shitty life. Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar. That doesn't freak me out. Whereas the first time it happens, whoa, I'm spilling, I'm going all over the place, I'm having a mental breakdown for multiple weeks, and I'm in my room and I can't leave, and I don't know how to navigate the sea that is life. We don't want that to happen to kids. And I think they're smart enough to take that horrible, horrible reality in small doses until they're ready for adulthood, which is, or 8-year-oldhood, and that's just the real world.
Well, that's a great answer, and I hope that clears things up for user I'm a Tater Thought. We had a comment and a question coming in. First of all, I think you've established that you've had a pretty dark life, Tyler, and so I hope that this next comment brings maybe some brightness to your life. User Heavy Flow says, hey, miss, you're very talented, and when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. So that's a nice compliment, not a question, but a compliment from user Heavy Flow, so thanks for that.
Have you ever gotten a compliment
Have you ever
before?
received a compliment before?
Was that for, is that
I think it was for you, Tyler.
Is that
That's for
for-
you.
They're saying it about you.
Is that for-
User Heavy Flow is complimenting you.
No, not the bear.
is that
you.
for,
Not
is
for
that for-
Aiden.
No, I think
No.
that
That
was for
Wasn't
you,
for the
Tyler.
pickle.
You're
Wasn't
saying-
for me.
you're saying that you're saying that I you're saying that I you're saying you're saying that I you're saying about me you're for you you're thank
Oh, she's blushing. If you can't see it at home, she's blushing. I've never
Thank
seen a
you.
reaction like that. Oh,
thank you're saying
thank you, User
for
Heavy
me
Flow.
that's for you to say that for you're welcome is for you to have you're welcome from to me. I want to for who's the user
The User Heavy Flow.
have you you say thank you and you're very welcome for me. Anyway,
We
Can I add something onto that?
yep.
I think that you're just doing a really great job here. I'm just
Yeah,
so
kid.
impressed.
yeah, really great.
Presented your. I honestly wasn't sure going into this. You know, it seems like you're not really used to getting compliments. Like you've really prepared your whole life for insults. But I just want you to know that.
Yeah. Can I give you a high five?
What? For
Yes.
you want
I want to give you a high five.
from to touch?
I'm gonna come up.
No, I know what it is. I know. For me?
For you.
That's pretty much it.
It seems she's never high-fived a fist bump before. But look at the joy. Look at the joy of a young
Sorry, I don't know.
7 going on 8-year-old.
Don't know where that came. I don't know where that
receiving
came
the
from.
first fist bump.
Wow. If my mommy and daddy would be shocked to have seen that.
Yeah. Wavy Line says
Well,
that you're adorable.
Thank you.
Are you okay? You can sit down.
You're gonna be all right.
No, we're fine. I'm gonna buy a journal today. I think today's the day I'm gonna start a journal because
Wow.
this is the first day I've ever in my life thought I had to write down something in my journal. Okay. Wow, guys. I lost my train of thought.
I was just gonna say that you smell very nice.
Okay.
And I'm a
careful.
Tater Thought says that they respect you.
Seems the compliments are just flooding in. We've got that
I'm
sleeve is fire from Mario Dion.
I'm tasting the Sprite. It's the Sprite. I'm not used to it. It's the Sprite. It's not water.
Okay. Oh God.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
She's so excited.
Oh
Kicking all
my
over the
God.
place.
I think I'm having heart palpitations.
Okay, well, perhaps
We might have to.
we may want to
Yeah.
take a breather. Okay. Thank you for those compliments from the users in the chat. You really seem to struck a nerve in Tyler.
All right. Yeah,
You're
we're gonna
great.
wrap it.
I love you all.
We're gonna. Thanks.
Oh, she dabbed.
Thanks, Tyler.
Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, that's dabbing. All right.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna start wearing shorts.
Thank you. Thank you. Give it up for Tyler M. Wow. It looks like through your guys' love and affection, she was finally able to feel like a kid for the first time in a long time, and that's really heartwarming. And yeah.